What's good, everybody? So in today's video, we're gonna be talking about different trading session and what sessions should you guys focus on the most. So the Forex market is open up 24/5. So it opens up from Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern and closes on Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern as well. And the market again is open from Sunday to Friday at 24 hours, right? Now that doesn't really mean that you guys want to be trading every single session. You guys really want to focus on at least two sessions or just one session. Me personally, I like to focus on two sessions, which I'm going to tell you guys in a minute. Now, as you guys can see, we have four different trading sessions. We have the New York session, we have the Tokyo, the Sydney, and the London session. So the New York session opens up at 8 a.m. Eastern and closes up at 5 p.m. Eastern. And the only pairs you guys want to be trading throughout that session is just the USD pair, also known as the United States dollar pairs, right? That's the only pairs you guys want to focus on during the New York session. Again, because the USD is moving at that time. The Tokyo session opens up at 7 p.m. Eastern and closes up at 4 a.m. Eastern, and the only pairs you guys want to focus on is just the Japanese Yen, also known as the JPY pairs. And then we have the Sydney session, which opens up at 5 p.m. Eastern and closes up at 2 a.m. Eastern, and the only pairs you guys want to focus on is just the Australian dollar, which is also known as the AUD pair. And then we finally have the London session, which opens up at 3 a.m. Eastern and closes up at 12 p.m. Eastern. And the only pairs you guys want to be trading at that time is just the GBP pair only, or also known as the Great British Pound. So the only session you guys really want to focus on is just the New York session and the London session, due to the fact that there's very high volume, also volatility. That's basically where the money is moving the most, right? So whenever there's high volume, that's the only time you guys really want to be trading. The Tokyo and the Sydney session, there's very low volume. So again, you guys don't want to be trading when there's a low volume. You guys just want to focus on when there's very high volume, right? Now, what I like to do personally during the Tokyo and the Sydney session, I just like going over my trades, just going back test, study up pretty much the market from the London New York session that I took, and just wait for the next day to continue trading, right? So the Tokyo and the Sydney, you guys can take it as a study time, or just don't trade at that time and then just wait for the next day, which is the New York and the London session. So now we're going to talk about session overlap, right? So what is a session overlap? So a session overlap is basically when two sessions pretty much just merges with each other, right? So I'm going to give you guys an example. So we have the New York session and the London, which merges together. So the New York session, like I said, opens up at 8 a.m. and the London opens up at 3 a.m. So basically the London session, so let me see if I can find a thing over here so I can show you guys. Okay, so I didn't find the marker, so I can show you guys the example how I want to show you. This over here just pretty much stretches out the page what I don't want. But anyways, let's start where we left over. So like I said, the New York and the London session merges with each other, and pretty much there's an overlap, right? So pretty much the London opens up at 3 a.m. and the New York session opens up at 8 a.m., which means that once the New York session has opened up, right, the London has already been open, right? So that means that the London merges with the New York session at 8 a.m. and the merge stops at 12 p.m. because the London closes at 12 p.m., right? So again, like an example, this is the London, this is the New York. London comes to the New York session. Pretty much the London pairs is still trading during the New York, and it stopped at 12 p.m. since it closes at 12 p.m. So it just basically merges with each other. We have the Sydney and the Tokyo session, which merges together, right? So the Sydney is open up at 5 p.m. and the Tokyo is open up at 7 p.m. Means that the Sydney merges 2 hours later when the Tokyo opens up over here, and it closes 2 hours early after the Tokyo session closes, right? So Sydney closes at 2 a.m. so it starts merging at 2 a.m. So the merge starts at 7 p.m. and closes at 2 a.m., which means that the AUD pairs are active to be trading throughout the session. And then we finally have the London and the Tokyo session, which merges together, right? So Tokyo is open at 7 p.m. The London is open at 3 a.m., which means that Tokyo merges with the London. So the merge starts from 3 a.m. and it closes at 4 a.m. So basically 1 hour after the London session opens up, since the Tokyo closes at 4 a.m., right? So just the merges like that. Very simple, nothing too complicated. So I forgot to mention this when I was explaining the time session, but whenever you guys are trading the session, right? So let's say that you guys are trading the London session from 3 a.m. to 12 p.m., right? It doesn't mean that you guys want to be trading from 3 a.m. all the way to 12 p.m., right? You guys just want to focus on just the peak hour. So me personally, whenever I'm trading the London session, I like to trade from 3 a.m. and finish at 4:30 a.m., right? So those are the only hours that I'm trading. If I don't get a setup before 4:30, then I'm just done and just move on to the next session, which is the New York session, right? Same thing goes on with the New York session. The New York session opens up from 8 a.m. Usually I like to trade from the New York session from 8 a.m. all the way to 11 a.m. At 11 a.m., if there's no session, if there's no trade or setup at all, then I'm just done for the day and just move on to the next day, right? So again, very simple topic, and I'll see you guys in the next one.